It's Kevin McCullough on AM 970, The Answer.
You're listening to Kevin McCullough Radio, where we talk about breaking news as it happens, what it means, and why it matters.
Kevin McCullough, and here we go.
Obliterating confusion,
Amplifying truth,
and pursuing clarity.
Kevin McCullough, now.
Lots of big financial news in the last week, like a budget getting passed and tax reform being just around the corner, with reconciliation being the procedure. David Fisher here with an extended Money Monday for us today. Dr. Gina will weigh in on the GOP inter-party squabble, but we start with international news, both with Russia and Mr. Bergdahl, with Dr. Herb London.
Binge thinking.
Kevin McCullough.
Something interesting is happening with this.
Kevin McCullough, let me start with you.
I found this thing at townhall.com by Kevin McCullough.
The big dog.
He's come out of nowhere.
Kevin McCullough,
I just want to help people think.
nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
He's playing the role as well as anybody could.
Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
The odds are he's right.
It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
You know what I would like to get to, and I just like to say this right up front. While we are arguing about whether or not a president in his tweet was sensitive enough to a widow of a service member that he did not even have a requirement to call, but wanted to console anyway. Just think about motivation for why the commander-in-chief does what he does. He doesn't have to do it. He chooses to do it. He wants to do it. This Dr. Flapjaws from Florida that's running her mouth at every turn. I don't know if she's telling the truth or not. But while we've got all of that going on, did you know that there are very real things happening in the news? My first guest, Dr. Herb London from the London Center for Policy Research, wrote in his op-ed for Fox News today, "This is the most serious betrayal of presidential authority in my lifetime." Now, Dr. London is an astute observer of world politics and what happens, so I don't think he'd make that statement very lightly. But he wasn't talking about the Trump administration or the Trump use of presidential authority. He was talking about President Obama, and Dr. Herb London rejoins us on the newsline here at Kevin McCullough Radio. Dr. London, why would you make such a strong statement? It seems to be a very, very intense one on your part.
Kevin, the reason why I made that statement is that the Army provided a report in 2009 suggesting that Bergdahl was a deserter. But more than a deserter, his mates clearly indicated that he had a desire to join the enemy. He was a traitor. And as a traitor, it seemed to me that the president was well aware of all of this information prior to this meeting that took place at the Rose Garden with his parents. Not only did he honor Bergdahl at the Rose Garden, he raised his rank to sergeant. And then he not only raised his rank to sergeant, but he had his national security advisor say that this man served the country with honor and distinction. Now, this is absolutely remarkable. Talk about destroying morale in the military. A deserter, probably a traitor, is supposedly a man who served the United States military with honor and distinction. That is an outrage on every level, and it's one of the reasons why I believe that the president obviously did not live up to his authority. It was a complete betrayal of his authority as the commander-in-chief of our military forces.
Well, I wanted you to have the chance to explain that, because I did find your argument in your article to be very persuasive along those lines. And people forget when they hear that he just pleaded guilty and he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life. They forget about all the other stuff that not just Obama did on that day, but Susan Rice was on TV within 24 hours, multiple networks saying, he served with honor and distinction. They use that word about this man multiple times over many courses of days. And I don't know if it's that they just wanted to try to whitewash that event as being something that they were trying to paint in a certain way, or if they actually believe as leftists that when you go counterintuitive to U.S. interests, you're actually more of a hero. The whole we have the right to disagree kind of Hillary mentality. There's always been kind of an insane, insipid delight in kind of shoving America's nose back in its traditional values. But on either front, it certainly wasn't what the American people understood heroism to be. And just bravo on a really well-written piece today in Fox on FoxNews.com.
Well, thank you very much for that, Kevin. I appreciate it. I mean, the important point to understand is not so much my piece, but the fact that Americans should understand and appreciate the fact that we have people who serve in our military and serve with true honor and distinction.
Right.
They're not deserters. These are people who are working every single day of the week in order to protect our liberties. I mean, people earn $30,000 a year. These are not pro football players earning a couple of $1 million a year, getting on one knee, disrespecting our flag and our symbols. This is a very different kind of America. And I do think that we have to remember those people who make the sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifices, so that we have the great privilege of living in liberty.
You're absolutely, as usual, quite articulate on this. Okay, so, Dr. London, Russia is back in the news for good reasons. It appears that Bill and Hillary had all kinds of kind of external connections that were kind of working their way through this. And now it's been announced this afternoon that it appears that even Mr. Mueller himself may be directing some laser focus on maybe Mr. Podesta's brother. All of this related to Russia, all of this related to Russia's influence. There's a piece out today that basically admits that, the Russians were seeking the administration's influence through the State Department. No one's saying that Hillary specifically organized this herself, but that they were using those methods of trying to gain that influence and to gain that presence, yet hardly a word about it anywhere in America's media.
Look at the circumstantial evidence. $140 million was given to the Clinton Foundation. Bill Clinton got a $500,000 gift from the Russian government for a speech that he gave. $500,000. I mean, you just look at this from a circumstantial level, and the arrangements that he's had with the Clinton people over the years. It seems to me that this looked like a pay-to-play arrangement from the beginning. But on top of it, the National Security Agency has said time and again, we do not have sufficient fissile material for the nuclear weapons in our arsenal.
Right.
And here we are giving 20% of our nuclear material to the Russians. This is a little bit like Lenin saying, I'll sell you the rope that'll be used to hang you. I mean, it's absolutely astonishing to me. So I think that further investigation is necessary. I hope that Mr. Mueller is serious about going after the Clintons on this matter. And it seems to me there are people who should be reading the Schweitzer book, which dealt very seriously with this question.
Well, and in fact, that's the reason why so much of this has the ability to be looked into, because had he not spoken out when he did, a lot of this, assuming a Hillary win last November, was going to put to rest everything that anybody had the chance to look into. And the new report that's out today, which adds a little bit of detail from the Hill, is that there were actually FBI agents watching as these Russian operatives were moving closer and closer and closer into the Clinton circle. Now, remember that was Obama's FBI. That was Jim Comey's FBI. Why did you have FBI and Justice working so hard to clear Clinton? What was the connection in all of this? Was it that they had a good thing going? They didn't want to mess it up. They didn't want to lose it. They didn't want to go to prison. So they were all covering each other's backsides on this.
Right. I think that's exactly right. They were covering one another's backsides. I think that's exactly right. And it seems to me that further investigation, at the very least, is necessary. And as I indicated before, if this was a play-to-play arrangement, we ought to know about it. The American people ought to understand that.
No, we certainly have the right to. Dr. London, I'm just curious, last question before we let you go. Trump said he's going to release the JFK documents. Everybody I've spoken to thinks it's a great thing. Your thoughts?
Oh, well, I think it's a great thing as well. I think it's very important to get that information out. About 80% of it has been released. The other 20%, I don't think will provide any new revelations, but I think it's important for the American people to understand all of the details and understand why the president, how he was killed, and under what circumstances. So often we believe that it was a kind of right-wing conspiracy. We're learning more and more about the role that Cuba has played in this matter.
Well, and if there was even some sort of more sinister involvement, as some have suggested, LBJ, et cetera, or some sort of cooperative effort between our intelligence agencies, I mean, I know it would take a hit to them now. But look, we've got to stop hiding from this stuff. If the FBI was watching the Russian operatives move in on Clinton, or the CIA helped kill JFK, we as the American people need to know. We must know. It's what we the people are all about.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I have such admiration for the work that you do on radio, because you are asking the right questions. And it seems to me that the American people deserve the right answers.
Well, and it's the only way we're going to get them, Dr. London, is to continue to speak. And when they try to shut us down, when they try to say, no, we've heard enough from you, nope, you go sit down now, nope, you be quiet, you go to the corner, that's when you scream and stomp your foot and get a little bit louder, because until they take the breath from our lips, we must absolutely demand transparency and truth in all of it. Dr. London, thank you for all your good work. Friends, follow everything that the London Center for Policy Research does. They are committed to helping you understand foreign policy in a way that no other group in America is dedicated to, and we're so grateful for your time with us today.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much. You do such a great job. All the best to you. Bye-bye.
All right. Kevin McCullough, we've got a great show for you. Coming up next, the inter-party squabble. Mitch McConnell, Steve Bannon, Dr. Gina will weigh in on that. And then David Fisher here with us to take a look at all the news that is financial on our Money Monday. Don't go away.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
We are looking at some heavy volume here going back to New Jersey at the Holland Tunnel of 45 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes on the city-bound side, 20 to 30 minutes outbound at the Lincoln Tunnel, about 15 to 20 on the city-bound side. Now, if you're in Queens on the eastbound LIE, that is jammed up basically out of the Midtown Tunnel, right out into Nassau County and out towards the Northern State Parkway. Grand Central delays start right in front of LaGuardia on the eastbound side and take us right out to the Clearview before the pace does pick up for you. Van Wyck, heavy both ways from the Belt Parkway up to the Kew Gardens Interchange. Southbound Cross Island, we're slow from the Throgs Neck Bridge right on down towards Belmont Park. Throgs Neck Bridge, not bad Bronx bound, but it is slow going into Queens. The Whitestone Bridge, definitely a better choice in both directions. Westbound Cross Bronx, slow from the Bruckner all the way across to the GW Bridge. Eastbound heavy off the bridge out towards Webster Avenue. In Manhattan, northbound West Side Highway, slow from 96th Street on up to the GW Bridge. And the FDR northbound were slow from the 50s on up to the George Washington Bridge. And now you know how not to go. I am Mike Barker on AM 970, The Answer.
Amazing to realize, but it's been almost 2 years I've been talking with you about Relief Factor, and I can tell you I've been continually inundated with testimonials. If you're struggling with ongoing back or neck pain, shoulder, hip, or knee pain, or general muscle pain, pains of any kind, do what tens of thousands of others have done so successfully. Go to ReliefFactor.com and order their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. 1-800-500-8384. That's 1-800-500-8384.
Tired of dealing with dummies? Experience the smart way to buy a car at Route 22 Toyota. No hidden fees, no back and forth, no pressure, and no wasting time with dummies. Alex Cancella, the general manager, prides himself on his low lease offers and 0% APR financing for up to 72 months for qualified buyers. And now my buddy Alex wants you to experience their new smart way to service. He's taking the same smart approach that's been so successful in selling cars into the service bay. So he said, Joe, I'm going to let you give the first 5 callers in the next 5 minutes a free multi-point inspection and oil change and filter if they call 855-621-9949 and say Joe sent me. 855-621-9949. In the next 5 minutes, get a free oil change and filter on me. 855-621-9949 and say this one's on Joe. Route 22 Toyota, Route 22 West in Hillside, New Jersey, or at Route22Toyota.com. Tell them Joe sent you for the free oil change. All European makes excluded.
Stuck in an expensive timeshare contract and feel like there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group. I've helped thousands of people get rid of their timeshares.
I didn't realize what I was getting into. The whole thing was just a scam. I finally found information on Chuck, and he agreed to meet us. It was just a wonderful experience because he knows that business inside out, and he actually wanted to solve our problem.
I fought the largest timeshare company in federal court, and yes, I won. Whether you owe $10,000 to $250,000 on your timeshare, we can help cancel your mortgage. mortgage. When you're approved as a client, I guarantee you a 100% success rate. We'll get you out of your timeshare, eliminate your payments, and get them off of your back permanently. And we proudly hold an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau.
Call Wesley Financial Group now for your free consultation at 800-786-9300. That's 800-786-9300. 800-786-9300.
Napa know-how.
It takes a lot to get excited about a bag, but most bags can't save you 20% on auto parts. That's 20% off headlamps, 20% off oil filters, 20% off virtually anything you can fit inside the 99-cent Napa reusable bag. So tell your buddies, there's a bag they just have to check out. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Minimum 3 items. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 10/31/17. AM 970. The Answer.
Breaking news as it happens. You're listening to Kevin McCullough Radio.
McConnell's this much right and he's this much wrong. His Senate is packed with people that defied his own strategy. Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, people that McConnell worked against. And they are now the future, the young guys, the stable of the future Republican Senate. I could have added to that Mike Lee. I could have added to that Ben Sass. There's a number of really young Republican senators that all defied the McConnell machine to get into office, and it's kind of the center of the conversation right now. There's this internal GOP grudge match that's going on between Steve Bannon and Mitch McConnell, and they both have baggage, and they both have things that they bring to the table that parts of their party don't like. But Mitch McConnell out this weekend on the Sunday shows saying that element, talking about the Tea Party, talking about the conservative grassroots, talking about the people that wanted to see the swamp drained, has given us more losers. Well, technically, if you add up the number of people that Mitch McConnell worked against to get elected, and you look at the people that he did not get across the finish line, Sharon Angle in Nevada, Tommy Thompson in Wisconsin, Rick Berg in North Dakota, plus losing all of those other Senate seats that I just mentioned, the Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, etc. He has actually a worse record than the Tea Party does when it comes to elective office. So anyway, this inter-party debate is actually going to impact legislation if we're not careful. And that's what I want to ask Dr. Gina Loudon about, who joins us on Mondays. Dr. Gina, welcome back. First, your take on the whole give and take between the McConnell version of conservative and Bannon version of conservative, and which is really more representative of the base right now?
Well, I mean, obviously the base is the Trump voter. And so, it's very, very hard, Kevin, to remediate the establishment. The establishment has only ever known itself as the establishment, and they honestly cannot believe this has happened to them. It's so far out of their ability to even process it, because it's always been the way it's always been, no matter how much outsiders like you and me came along and threatened them with our audiences. They have never believed that politics could really change. And you almost get to a point where you feel sympathetic for them. But here's the thing. We need some bills passed right now. It's nice to hear this little vein of, the groups working together, but the longer it takes them, this is the scary part, Kevin. The more some of these scarier, more entrenched establishment lobby groups have a chance to change up some of these bills that are great like they are, like the tax reform bill, for example, perfect like it is, but there are lobbyists and consultants chopping at the bit, trying to change all of that in ways that are going to hurt conservatives in the long run. And so I'm always going a layer deeper, Kevin, and looking at, what's going to happen? How, when we give D.C. more time to be D.C., they're going to be more D.C. And so I think that getting something done in a hurry is the important thing.
Well, and on the tax package precisely, Gina, why is it that because this is kind of interesting in that it is more middle class focused than, say, the previous packages, the Bush, Reagan, and JFK packages that would have passed. They would have been more generous with the top bracket and still very generous with the middle class. But Trump's kind of yielded to that idea that we can kind of curb the top bracket a little bit less than the others. I as a pure tax conservative, I want to see that top rate get as low as possible, because I know what happens to business and industry when that is the case. But you like it as it is.
Well, here's the thing, Kevin. And this is some of the inner work, as I've been watching this bill very closely. And initially there were some special interests that had their teeth in this, that were doing some hanky-panky kind of behind the scenes that were going to end up causing what could have been a very dangerous real estate bubble, reminiscent of the one that happened in the 80s. And so that provision has come out, but there are strong lobbies to get that provision back in. It would hurt all of us. And so I am really anxious for them to go ahead and move forward before some of the powers that be, some of the special interest lobby have a chance to try to move things, pay people off, whatever it is they do, Kevin, that seems to move the needle in Washington, D.C. The less time the D.C. insiders have to mess with it, in my opinion, the better, because right now it's nice and clean. In terms of the bracket, I'm like you. I like the purest form. I'm practically a flat tax person. I like the purest form of everybody should be taxed the same, period. It should be as low as is absolutely possible, because we know that it really does work when corporate America makes money and reinvests in our economy. And anybody that doesn't understand that needs to take a basic economics course again.
Well, and this all came home for me much harder last week, because, the tax extension deadline is October 15th. And so I was cramming to finish for both my company and my family what we owed. And due to some of the last 12-month changes that had occurred in the tax code, we got hit for several thousand more than what I had anticipated from the previous year. And so I've been on the record as saying I don't even care if you really touch the personal income tax. For us, and I think for more of America, if you got that corporate tax, and I know that Kellyanne Conway was on today and she was saying, 20% is where it's going to be. I still wanted to fight for that last 5%, get it all the way down to 15%. And only for this reason. The more you do that, the more jobs are going to be created, and the more productivity is going to take place, and the more entrepreneurial endeavors will multiply and grow, and we will see an expanding economy that I think then offsets even some of the personal tax punishment that we take, because you have more money in your pocket, you're able to do more of it with. Now, I would like to see all taxes cut across the board. Here in the state of New Jersey, where we've got, here in the tri-state, one of our three big states, the Democratic candidate for governor has literally promised in his campaign to raise taxes on every tax that they already pay, and bringing back the estate tax, which Christie did away with a few years ago. But he's going to raise income tax. He's going to raise tolls. He's going to raise sales tax. He's going to raise death tax. Every single tax that he's going to find, he's going to raise. We should be the polar opposite of that. We should be trying to drop every tax rate we can.
Well said, Kevin. You should be a talk show host when you grow up.
I don't know. I get so irritated by this stuff. I think I just live an angry life most of the time. Hey, Dr. Gina, always a pleasure to have you with us. Read her on FoxNews.com and watch her on Fox News. She's all over the place, especially around the Neil Cavuto hours, etc. But you catch her other places as well. And a lot of time recently with Mr. Hannity. Anyway, Gina,
Mr.
thanks for being here.
Yep. All right. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
It's Kevin McCullough. We've got a lot to get to. It's a Money Monday and a lot of financial news in the last week. David Fisher going to spend a little extra time with us just to break it all down. It's Kevin McCullough Radio. Don't go away.
News, opinion, passion. This is AM 970. The Answer.
We have cloudy skies. We sit at 71 degrees on this Monday evening. What's going on? We have the answer. Police and transit officials want to know how a brick crashed through an MTA bus roof. It happened just after 9 o'clock last night on Ogden Avenue in Highbridge. The brick hit a teenage rider in the leg, but he's going to be okay. Police are trying to determine whether the brick fell from a building or was hurled deliberately at the bus. The new manager of the New York Mets, Mickey Callaway, says player morale will be among his top priorities. Callaway was named this afternoon to be the Mets' 21st manager, one of the league's youngest at the age of 42. Callaway repeatedly told reporters he's excited about taking over the Amazons, which had a losing season filled with injuries. The Mets' new skipper says he's talking to players right away as the team tries to rebound after a 70-92 record this year. The NYPD says a man is in custody today after kids were stalked in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Ethan Harp reports that so far no charges have been filed against the man who is described as a person of interest.
The terror for an 8-year-old girl and her 12-year-old brother started Friday. Cops say the girl was walking with her friend to a school bus stop when she saw a stranger hiding between cars. He'd followed her from her home. Later that day, her brother's school bus was flagged down by the stalker, who told the driver he was there to pick up the boy. The driver said no and called police. Kay Reyes lives in Crown Heights.
I've lived here for about 2 years now, and I haven't seen or heard anything crazy like that. That's kind of scary.
It only got creepier. The stalker repeatedly showed up again at the kid's home, asking the siblings questions. The family found a note inside their mailbox reading, "Watch out. I am watching you. Your daughter is cute." Ethan Harp, NBC News Radio, New York.
In sports, hockey action tonight at the Garden. The Rangers host the Sharks. Taking a look at the traffic, avoid that Holland Tunnel, 45 minutes back to New Jersey, 15 on the city-bound side, about 20 each way at the Lincoln Tunnel. Taking a look at your forecast, cloudy skies, light rain possible overnight, low 65. Tomorrow the rain comes in. It'll be heavy at times, maybe a thunderstorm too, and you'll notice the wind picking up with gusts up to 50 miles an hour, high 72. And now you know what's going on. I am Mike Barker on AM 970, The Answer.
Do you know that there are 9 countries around the world that have already seized their citizens' assets to pay down their country's debt or to support their banking system? This is called a bail-in. Would you like to know the laws that have been passed here in the U.S. to seize your wealth? Or would you like to know how to protect your hard-earned money? Do you know that there are certain markets in gold and silver that are exempt from such confiscation? Central banks and wise investors see challenges ahead for America to manage its $20 trillion debt. They have bought gold, causing it to move up almost as much as stocks on this calendar year. Call Landmark Capital today at 844-604-2575 and find out how. 844-604-2575. That's 844-604-2575. You can also find more information at landmarkgold.com. But find out the facts today at 844-604-2575.
Gary Goldberg has shared his insights on the markets and financial industry for over 3 decades as host of Money Matters, now on AM 970 The Answer, Sundays at noon. Each week, Gary helps you navigate the markets, world politics, and economic news affecting your investments. He also talks with an interesting array of guests. Catch Money Matters with Gary Goldberg, Sundays at noon on AM 970 The Answer.
Introducing the Islanders Ticket Bank, offering the ultimate in flexibility.
Bailey cruises to the front, dances, score!
You choose the games, you choose the seats, and you choose the number of tickets.
There's Bailey over the flame line, drops on Tavares, walks in, shoots and scores!
Get the games you want, when you want them, by calling 844-33-ISLES or by visiting islanders.nhl.com/bank.
Our hosts all look like GQ models. See them now at am970theanswer.com. What you need to know when you need it. It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
Well, on Mondays, we talk about money, your money, and what's happening with the money that could be your money if it's in the money marketplace, which most of our money is. It's very Monday and very M today. Brought to you by the letter M, this edition of Sesame Street. Anyway, as we are talking about all of this in Washington, D.C., you have a new reality that we haven't had in maybe 9 years. You've got both houses of Congress that have passed a budget, and the president is going to probably sign a reconciled version of that budget coming up. How will this affect tax reform? How will this affect any number of things related to the economy? David Fisher of Landmark Capital is back with us on Mondays. Normally he joins us one segment later, but there was such big news last week, I felt like we had to allow a little more time to chat about it this week. David, it's good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me this afternoon, Kevin.
So we got the Senate version out. Now they've got to go reconcile that with the House. How different are the two sides of the coin here? Or are they essentially the same thing?
They're very, very close to the same thing. On October 5th, the House passed a $4.1 trillion budget, and late last Thursday, the Senate passed a very similar budget by a very small vote of 51 to 49. No Democrats supporting the budget on this one, considering there was only a 52-seat majority, which was narrowly passed with only Rand Paul opposing it.
Right. Well, and that's that's how the votes went down. But at the end of the day, they kind of anticipated this because the Democrats are saying to themselves, well, if we hang together, then the Republicans will own all of it. What do you like about the budgets? What do you not like about them, David?
Well, the numbers first was $1 trillion cuts from Medicare, and Medicaid is getting a cut of $470 billion. So that's going to affect, definitely the elderly. It's going to be challenging for them. That's over the next decade. Projected tax revenue is $365 trillion, which creates a budget deficit of $440 billion. So we're still spending more than we're taking in. But keep in mind, one of the key budget passage, Kevin, that represents is a key step. It contains the instructions in the process known as budget reconciliation, which allows the Republicans the chance to pass a tax bill through the chamber by a simple majority vote to avoid the filibuster rule. So, and also the benefit that we could open up Alaska now. We only need a majority vote for that to start drilling for oil in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge.
Well, I didn't know that the Alaska possibility was even attached to it. So,
yep.
And the thing, I want listeners to understand, the thing about reconciliation is it has to be economically related. Like, you can't use reconciliation to just go out and do whatever you want. It's got to be related to the economy, and it's got to be related to the economic flow of the country. But having said that, obviously tax reform is something that's been talked about since the campaign trail. And evidently the drilling issue now added to that. Those are two silver linings, at least in my book, David, that getting it done by just the 51 votes would provide.
Sure. It makes us less dependent upon oil imports from other countries, specifically Saudi Arabia, which ties into what we've been talking about, the oil for China and the dollar trade. So, yeah, it all's starting to tie together, and this is a great silver lining.
Well, and then let's talk about the tax reform when we have a second in just a bit. I want to emphasize, though, what David just mentioned very briefly. In China, they are going to begin paying for their oil in gold. And David has some very helpful literature on this that, if you would like, will actually help you understand the issue better and how it's going to affect your ownership of gold and what it would do in your portfolio. You can get that free newsletter called Black Gold for Yellow Gold, the trade that changes the world, at landmarkgold.com, all one word, landmarkgold.com, or you can also call them at 844-604-2575. And we will highlight why that matters a little bit more. Now, taking away the filibuster is a big deal, David, because that's how Democrats had planned on killing basically not just the budget, but any type of economic reform, including taxes, that they could have gotten their hands on.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't understand what a filibuster. It's just a simple tactic that was created in the 1850s by Congress. It comes from the word robber, the Latin word, but it delays a tactic used in the United States Senate to block a bill or amendment or resolution or any measure that's being considered to prevent it from coming to a final vote of passage. So it's a delay game. So this avoids that. Now we can move on to having tax reform without a filibuster, no delays by the Democrats.
Now, of course, that presumes, David, that you're going to have Republicans actually be able to work with each other in order to get that to happen. And as we even saw this weekend, the Republicans have a hard time not, getting so in their own way that they give the issue back to the other party every now and then. We're talking with David Fisher. Again, if you want his newsletter, it's a free newsletter, Black Gold for Yellow Gold, the trade that changes the world. Get it for free. 844-604-2575.
Mike Gallagher believes there are some issues we should all agree on.
Am I wrong to react to the Harvey Weinstein scandal by observing that not everything has to be left versus right? There is this paradigm now where everything that occurs becomes left versus right.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 10, right before Dennis Prager at 1 on AM 970. The Answer.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. Great news for all of the AM 970 listeners. Our good friend Mike Lindell, the founder and creator of MyPillow, is back with his best and most popular offer. Buy one premium MyPillow, get the second premium MyPillow free. Whether you have problems sleeping, if your pillow goes flat, maybe you flip-flop through the night, or if you wake up with a sore neck or headache, it's time for a MyPillow. You can adjust MyPillow's patented fill to your exact individual needs to help you get to sleep faster and stay there longer. You'll get the quality sleep you need. MyPillow is backed with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. And because Mike Lindell wants to thank AM 970 The Answer, he is bringing back his best offer ever. Buy one MyPillow and get another one absolutely free. Call 1-800-506-2641 and use promo code AM970. Or go to MyPillow.com. But make sure you use the promo code AM970. That number again, 800-506-2641. That's 800-506-2641. 800-506-2641. Promo code AM970. Hi, Kevin McCullough. Have you ever had a legal question pertaining to elder law or estate law and wondered to yourself, what's the best course of action to take? Every Thursday during Kevin McCullough Radio at 5 o'clock on AM 970 The Answer, you'll hear Mike Connors of Connors & Sullivan Attorneys at Law answer a listener's actual question. If you have a legal question for Mike Connors, the Ask the Lawyer host, simply email the question to askmikeconnors@gmail.com. Or call the Legal Question of the Week phone line at 347-735-MIKE. That's 347-735-6453. And don't forget to tune in to Ask the Lawyer with Mike Connors every Saturday evening at 6 on AM 970 The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
It's a wonderful product. I mean, it's an absolute wonderful product. I'm so grateful that I heard about it. Yeah. And at first I didn't take I didn't take it faithfully. I'd forget. And then I'd say about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I really started taking it right. And what a difference. What a difference.
What are you waiting for? Good health is just a phone call away. Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code The Answer.
Risinger Oxygen in Roseland is reminding everyone to please give blood. By doing so, you could save the life of a child, a surgery patient, or accident victim. So give blood. It's safe, it's simple, and it's needed. This message courtesy of the staff at Risinger Oxygen at 113 Harrison Avenue in Roseland, where they say our area is a great place to live and raise a family. Call Risinger Oxygen at 973-228-0188. They're serving our community with pride for over 52 years.
Liberty Mutual presents worry-free music moments. Switching to Liberty Mutual could save you $782 on the perfect home and auto insurance for your needs, so you can feel good about the family budget and the massage you're about to treat yourself to.
This is awesome.
Get a quote at libertymutual.com. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide survey of new customers. Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company.
Tweet us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. We're everywhere. AM 970. TheAnswer.com.
Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around, how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be in the greatest city in the world. In the greatest city in the world.
If it's happening in New York or across the globe, learn why it matters first on Kevin McCullough Radio.
All right, 844-604-2575 if you would like the Landmark Capital newsletter, Black Gold for Yellow Gold, the trade that changes the world. It's all about how China is really restacking the entire currency game in their favor because they're going to use the gold standard, in essence, to establish oil prices. And that's pretty incredible when you think about it. David Fisher is the CEO of Landmark Capital and rejoins us. But, David, you haven't ever put it in that exact frame of mind, but that's exactly what China's doing. If they're going to pay for oil in gold, you have the number one consumer commodity and the number one investment commodity that are backing the standard of each other. They're going to be able to manipulate the price of either one of them.
You're exactly right, and it has nothing to do with our company, really, but it does affect the gold industry. But ironically, today on CNBC, Prince Alawid, billionaire, says he wouldn't be surprised if China doesn't buy in Aramco. Aramco is the initial public offering stock that's going to be announced here shortly out of Saudi Arabia's national oil company. And if China were to buy just into Saudi Aramco, the pricing of oil could shift easily from dollars to Yuan, and then Yuan being converted to gold. We did the same thing in 1974 when we created the petrodollar. We made oil payments made in dollars converted to gold. So that's happening, and Nixon closed the gold window in 71 on that. So that's the only difference now. Now we're going back to where the world started this whole thing.
Yeah, well, the big difference here is that we don't have any say in it. So America really needs to get its economic house under control, does it not?
Absolutely. This is all about getting our debt managed. You know, ironically, the International Monetary Fund came out with a financial crisis report saying the global markets are in trouble. They're doing great now, but the debt needs to get managed, and it's out of control. So that's where this comes down to. And if we lose the dollar or get challenged, not even lose it, get challenged with the world dollar reserve by China converting their yuan to gold, this is severely going to impact the revenue coming into our country.
Well, friend, if you'd like to know more about this, and I would suggest that every one of you get the information at least and arm yourself, 844-604-2575. But while you're there, go ahead and ask them for their other resources. They've got two other ones that they can supply you with as well. Changing Directions in Changing Times. This is a detailed report on the Dodd-Frank Act and how America has the potential via a thing called a bail-in to actually take your money and seize it during a national crisis of some sort. So you want to protect yourself against that. They've got ways that you can know about that. And the coming bail-in, their kind of premier white paper, it's in its 6th edition. They still have those. You can request that when you call as well. So get all three of them, 844-604-2575, 844-604-2575, or landmarkgold.com. Now, David, I did Fox News today, and as I was coming out of the studio where I did my hit, Neil Cavuto was standing there. I was on the Fox Business floor, 12th floor, and I walked over to him. I said, "Hello, Mr. Cavuto." He goes, "Kev, tell me something. Is this market overvalued?" And I you had been so proud of me, David. I said, "Absolutely." I said, "This is way overvalued." And he goes, "What do you think's going to happen?" I said, "Well, all the experts that I talked to, David Fisher, he said, I said, maybe a serious correction for sure, but maybe 10% sometime in the next year or 2 years." And he looked at me and he goes, "I thought you were going to say that." See, this is the thing. All you financial guys, you all see the writing on the wall, but the average investor still hasn't acknowledged it yet.
Well, there's the markets by technical standards is highly overvalued, and by standards of duration of a correction, we're long past the 7-year correction. So, but that doesn't mean that the market can't go higher, and I think it will. But the higher it goes and the longer it gets, it's like a rubber band. The farther you pull it back, the more stretch it's get, and the worse, the severe the correction can be. But this is really going to have come down to what the Fed does with unwinding their balance sheet, in my opinion, and the bond market. I think those are the two key things. Those are what we are watching, and that will tell the story, I believe.
So do you think that those things are going to add up in the near term to cause a correction?
I think there's one thing that will be the catalyst that will lead to a domino of corrections. I'm not talking about a collapse or a depression. Don't read into that. But it's going to affect global markets, and it's not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen this year. I believe it's going to be sometime next year or maybe the year after. First quarter next year will tell a lot because the Fed's going to start on their interest rate hikes, and by that time they will have wound the balance sheet, and that will tell a lot.
As they unwind the balance sheet, are there things that we should be watching? Are there sectors that are going to be more noticeably affected by that?
Well, somebody has to pick up the slack when they're selling dollars, and the world's been selling the dollar. Who's going to be the buyer of the dollar in the form of treasuries, which supports the debt structure of overspending? So that's the key. Who is going to be the next buyer to hold the dollar? that's what we're watching, and bonds are in trouble. There's reports now coming out that we could see that the whole thing trigger through the bond market, which is much larger than stocks.
And would be significantly more important than the way the real estate implosion occurred on Bush's watch?
Yeah, I think the real estate market is nothing compared to what it was in 2007. It's not overly leveraged by those numbers. There's still debt structures problems going on, but this won't be triggered by the real estate market, in my opinion. I think we're fine on that scenario, but it will affect rates and it will affect pensions significantly because most pensions hold bonds.
Gotcha. Well, friends, it's something to keep your eye on, and being in touch with Landmark Gold is a great way to do it. They have a great newsletter, the most recent one, Black Gold for Yellow Gold, the trade that changes the world, 844-604-2575 to get your complimentary copy. Now, David, real quickly, we just have 10 seconds. How the market's done this year to date, if I invested $10,000 in stocks, silver, and gold, where do I come out?
Gold would be up $11,000, silver slightly under $11,000, the Dow would be $11,008. So the Dow's leading the charge.
All right, good to know. And gold holding, I mean, they're still both on big bull runs for the year, which is interesting. That doesn't happen very often. David, always good to talk to you. Thanks for the extra time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, you want to get that newsletter, and I highly suggest it, friends. Black Gold for Yellow Gold, the trade that changes the world. I'm subtitling it, How China is going to leverage the oil and the gold market. 844-604-2575.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
If you're traveling in New Jersey this evening, a lot of stop and go on both sides of the Parkway. Northbound we're slow from the Union tolls to 145. More delays coming up on exit 148 and stays heavy up to 153. Southbound we're slow from 144 down towards the area of 136. And more delays 132 down towards 130. Turnpike Western Spur jammed up on the southbound side, 18W down to 15W. Eastern Spur not quite as bad, 16 to 15X. That's where you'll find the heaviest volume. 3 westbound jammed up from the Hackensack River Bridge west of Meadowlands Parkway all the way out towards Route 21 in Clifton. Across the Hudson River, still looking at about a 45-minute delay leaving the city at the Holland Tunnel, about 15 to 20 on the city-bound side, about 20 to 30 each way at the Lincoln Tunnel. George Washington Bridge, not bad coming into the city. If you're trying to get to the outbound GW Bridge, West Side Highway northbound delays from the 90s, FDR delays northbound from the 50s, Cross Bronx westbound from the Bronx River Parkway, and then Deegan northbound from the RFK Triborough Bridge. And now you know how not to go. I am Mike Barker on AM 970, The Answer.
Tired of dealing with dummies? Experience the smart way to buy a car at Route 22 Toyota. No hidden fees, no back and forth, no pressure, and no wasting time with dummies. Alex Cancella, the general manager, prides himself on his low lease offers and 0% APR financing for up to 72 months for qualified buyers. And now my buddy Alex wants you to experience their new smart way to service. He's taking the same smart approach that's been so successful in selling cars into the service bay. So he said, Joe, I'm going to let you give the first 5 callers in the next 5 minutes a free multi-point inspection and oil change and filter if they call 855-621-9949 and say Joe sent me. 855-621-9949. In the next 5 minutes, get a free oil change and filter on me. 855-621-9949 and say this one's on Joe. Route 22 Toyota, Route 22 West in Hillside, New Jersey, or at Route22Toyota.com. Tell them Joe sent you for the free oil change. All European makes excluded.
Hey, this is Michael Riddle from On the Town here on AM 970 The Answer. Now, my favorite American playwright is Edward Albee. He wrote Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and A Delicate Balance, and a late masterpiece he wrote called Three Tall Women. Really a terrific play, and it is coming to Broadway in a revival starring Glenda Jackson, the great English actress. She has not been in the theater in a while because she took time out to become a member of Parliament. She got very political on us, but she's coming back to the theater to be in Three Tall Women with Laurie Metcalf, who was just in A Doll's House Part 2, for which she won the Tony Award, and they will be joined by Alison Pill. This is a really fascinating play about kind of an old, strange, mean woman, but you kind of go back into her past and you see the sort of events in her life that made her into the kind of monster that she is today. But it's a gripping, compelling play. Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. To get tickets, go to telecharge.com. That's telecharge.com. You don't want to miss Edward Albee's Three Tall Women.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today. Buckle up, Sarah. Michaela's got like the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Listen to us anywhere. TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio.com. Get the app at AM970theanswer.com. Jay Sekulow live is next on AM 970. The Answer. What you need to know when you need it. It's Kevin McCullough Radio.
All right, Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. It's been a busy Monday already, and we've just started the week. So thanks for those of you that are here. And, of course, make sure you're listening tomorrow morning to Joe Piscopo and the entire great lineup at AM 970 The Answer in New York. I was on my way to Fox this morning, and I had a great time, as I usually do. With today was Melissa Francis and John Scott at Happening Now, but it was kind of fun because I get in the car and the driver, because Fox News sends the car, and the driver had on another radio station, and it had on a morning show, and the morning host on that station kind of talks like this. And I couldn't understand anything it said, so I said, hey, have you ever thought about trying AM 970 in the morning? Now, the driver didn't know what I did for a living. And he goes, AM 970. Okay, so he turned it over, and we got rid of Marble Mouth, and there was Joe Piscopo being, everybody's wake-up morning guy in New York City. And Morano was weighing in, and Al was throwing in his bits, and you had the traffic, and everything was going on. And we listened, I don't know, for the full hour and 10 minutes all the way into Fox News. And when I got out, he was like, sir, thank you so much for recommending this radio station. I'm not changing it. I'm going to stick right here. And it was only at the very tail end that I said, by the way, if you come back tonight, 5 o'clock, you'll catch me, because he is, oh, wow. So anyway, very, very fun to let people kind of continue to know that AM 970, The Answer, is your alternative. You don't have to listen to Marble Mouth in the mornings. You can actually get very clear enunciation from a great American, Joe Piscopo, and all of his, Italian cadres by his side, Serrano, Morano, Gattulo, Duhamo, all of them. What's the weather guy? He's not Italian. I'm just teasing. But no, wake up with him tomorrow. Give it a try, and tell your friends about it as well. It'll make a difference. Okay, finally tonight, a headline that really threw me for a loop. I was really pleased today to see that the Times newspaper in the UK had a brand new policy that was going to go into effect via the UN, because they said to no longer refer to women as who get pregnant as just women, but to call them people. See, I was thrilled with that, because I said, you know what, that's the right thing. It is a people. You've got the mom and the child. Two persons makes people. Sadly, that's not what they were referring to. They wanted them to call people like the neutered transgender version of it all, and then my day was shot. I'm Kevin McCullough. We'll see you next time.